Good morning or afternoon, everybody. So I got up at 3:30 this morning so I could hang out with my friends on the other side of the planet in India, and then of course here as well. Realized I had no coffee. I ran out of coffee, so I had to make a trip to the store. However, I live in Wyoming, so I went out to a blizzard. So basically, I just loaded up the first game. I'm going to go over 4 games real quick, just showing you my thought process. I've been listening to Chad a lot. They're, taking their advice and not trying to force an opening. A lot of people are saying you keep trying to force the opening. I've been looking at the Stonewall, the Ready, the French, the Scandinavian, and when it doesn't go my way, I stick with it and I keep trying to force the opening, and it was killing me. If you look at the chart on the screen, the bluer color, you'll notice that I kept going up and down, winning, losing, and it just wasn't really working out for me. So I decided to take their advice and just play solid chess, and so that's what I did. So jumped into this game and just developed, attacked the pawn. He kind of locked his own bishop in here, so I went ahead and developed my bishop. And then developing, another, kind of putting a little pressure on that knight. He doesn't try to back me off, he just protects it. Again, develop, he castles. I get my queen aligned with my bishop for a battery towards this pawn here. Again, just playing super solid. He comes in with the knight, and I push this pawn to keep him from coming into this area here. He attacks my knight. I go ahead and try to kick him away. Now, had I already had that pawn there and he didn't come in, I might have castled on that side. But because I forced him into taking, not forced him, but he decided to take my knight, that opens up the G file here on his king, right? So now I'm like, okay, now I'm not going to castle that side. I'm going to castle to the other side. He develops his knight. I castle, brings his bishop in, and I go ahead and get this castle aligned with his king, pinning this pawn here. So then now it plays out for me. He goes ahead and attacks my bishop. I ignore it. I attack his bishop. He can't take with the pawn. He could have took with the knight. But then if he did take with the knight, then I could come over here and grab this because this pawn is pinned. So instead he takes with the queen. And then I set up this trap. What I want to do is I want to take this pawn here. He can't take it because this pawn is pinned. I'm hoping he's like, oh, look, a free bishop, and just takes it, thinking that, he can get that bishop. If I take him, he can take back. But what would happen there is I take, he takes, this pawn is pinned, so then I take with the queen, and he cannot take me back. So I would have got a free queen out of it. But he didn't fall for it. Instead, he took, I took. He aligned his rook on the e file there. I went ahead and moved my queen up because I was thinking about maybe bringing the rook to the open file here. He goes here, and I see the opportunity to go ahead and take that pawn in front of the king and attack his queen. And if he moved his queen away on a dark square, then I could do a discover check and capture his queen. That's what I was hoping for. But instead, he cuts off the connection between my rook and my bishop and just blunders the queen. So I go ahead and take the queen, and he resigns. So it was a pretty quick game. Worked out well for me. I stuck with solid chess, just like the viewers advised me to do. It worked out really good for me. And the estimated Elo play on that was 1650. Any Elo estimated Elo play that chess.com comes up with, as long as it's higher than my Elo, then I know I'm on the right track. A lot of people say it's not accurate. I believe that it's probably somewhat accurate, and it's enough to give you an indication of whether or not you're moving in the right direction or the wrong direction. So in this case, it worked out for me. So let me go ahead and load up the second game, which was this one here. Again, sticking to solid chess. If the openings don't work, just switch to solid chess. Don't try to force the opening. And they also recommended doing a lot of puzzles. Well, I do those anyway. You guys know that I upload way too many shorts on made in twos and that sort of thing. I drive some of you crazy. I do apologize about that. But anyway, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Gaming Rabbit. He had a brilliancy in a game. He's been waiting for an opportunity to. He puts up a lot of really cool shorts, got neat music and animations and stuff that's really good special effects. He does a real good job and he gets a lot of views. And he finally got a brilliancy that he can show off, and it was a really good one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll put a link to that short of Gaming Rabbit 101 in the description, so you guys can check it out when you're done watching this. It was really good. He did a great job and a really good move. So anyway, in this game, I'm still focusing on the ready. So I go ahead and move the knight there, and he comes with the queen pawn. That's part of the ready, and then here, that's a mistake. On this game, I'm sticking a little too close to trying to adhere to the opening, which is what everybody advised me against. I end up switching to sensible chess here in a moment. But the problem is that if he takes my pawn, I take his pawn, he captures my queen, I take back, and now I can't castle. So that was kind of a mistake on my part. He does take, I do take back. He doesn't take my queen, so got kind of lucky on that. He develops. I cover the queen, saying, please don't take my queen. I move the bishop out, which is part of the ready. And I move the pawn up just to keep any shenanigans from happening. Having his bishop be able to get here might be problematic. So he develops, I castle, he castles. I move this pawn up, that's also part of the ready. Start moving the A pawn up, he develops. I get my my queen into position. Moves the knight, I push the pawn, which Stockfish actually said was a mistake, or not a mistake, but a miss or something. He moves his queen up, probably getting ready to maybe double up, maybe bring one of the rooks over. And I take the free pawn and attack the queen. You know, games are won, the end games are won by just being one pawn up, so I should have taken it probably before, maybe as soon as he moved here, maybe taken it, but in any case, I get the pawn, he attacks, I just come right back, free pawn. And at this point, now I'm up 1 point in material, one pawn. Brings his rook to the open file, sticking with his game plan. It's just his queen is no longer on the d7 square. I bring my bishop up because I plan on developing this pawn forward. It would give me a backwards pawn, but at least it would open up my bishop's line of sight. Okay, so he closes the position a little bit. So do I, attacking his knight. The idea here was with this battery, was the attack on the queen. He goes ahead and moves the knight back. Semi closes the position. I go ahead and finish closing the position. Just getting ready to double up. I come in to just better my knight. It's actually kind of a fake move. I don't know that it does that much. He goes ahead and chases me off, so I go ahead and take his bishop, get rid of the bishop pair, takes back. I bring my knight in. He takes, I take, takes my pawn, so he got a free pawn. Now we're a dead even game, 2 pawns, a knight, and a rook. So this is like a solid dead even game at this point. But what I'm hoping for is I'm seeing something in this area here. So I'm kind of hoping to get my bishop here. I developed to try to kick his queen away from that knight because I'd like to take it. He moves it to where he's still protecting the knight. And that's where I see the opportunity for the pin on the knight. And he doesn't see it. That's another thing that chat was telling me. They said, you know, if you play solid chess, especially at your level, your Elo level, which in this case I'm below 1200, which is why this was originally a grind towards 1200. Now I'm going towards 1300. Eventually the opponent will blunder. If you just play solid chess, make sure you're covering all your pieces. Anyway, so I see the free knight. Well, if I take this free knight and I'm up in material, what's the next move? The next move is to try to trade pieces, right? Isn't that what everybody says? If you're up in material, trade everything down, consolidate the position, and then just finish off the end game. So I go ahead and start trading material right now. I do kind of an intermezzo move and take the queen. He takes back. Then I take the knight. And now what I'm looking at here is I'm attacking his rook. And I'm looking at this pawn, and then I'm looking at this pawn, and then I'm looking at this pawn, all kinds of candy right there, right? So he comes over here to attack my knight, which is protected. I attack the bishop. He moves the bishop. I attack one, or take one pawn. Take the second pawn because it's protected by the knight. Take the third pawn. Now I'm just up in so much in material here. I've got 3 pawns that are all just ready to charge towards promoting to a queen. And I think we're coming to a close here. He comes down. I definitely want to trade pieces at this point. So I drop my bishop. It's protected by my rook. I want to take him out. He says no trading, which is smart because he's down in material. So the last thing he wants to do is trade his pieces. Push the pawn. He comes down. Now this is actually a really smart move, and I didn't see it. If I take back, then he takes me, and he sees the bishop, and he sees the knight through X-ray. So I can't move the knight anywhere to protect my bishop, and if I move the bishop, he can go after my knight because this pawn will not be protecting it anymore because the pawn will be on this square. So it's actually a really smart move on his part, or her part. So I just say, screw it. I go ahead and take it anyway. He takes back. I push the pawn, looking to promote. And it's probably not the best move. I can still protect the pawn, but I should have maybe got some protection on that pawn before I moved it. In any case, he says free bishop. I don't care. I get the queen. He takes the rook. He takes the knight with his rook. I pin it because I'm looking to trade off pieces, right? So I'm looking at this knight here. He moves out of the way, attacking my bishop. I take, he takes, next move is mate. So he resigns. So on this game, the Elo estimated play on this one was 1,700. So I'm really happy with that game. So far, so good. 2 games. Might have been a 3rd game in there somewhere. And my Elo is now on a steady climb because I'm sticking to the fundamentals, once again, that were spoken in chat. Let me go ahead and load up the 3rd game. That was this one. Okay, so game number 3 here. By the way, if you guys get a chance to check out Hawkeye Chess, he's a really cool streamer. He's at 10.6 thousand subscribers, and he's been kind enough to help me out promoting my channel. Actually took part of my stream and made it into a short, which I thought was really kind to him. Would love to get him to 11,000 subs. That would be so cool. I hope that this video, which I don't normally upload videos, you guys know me, I do shorts and I do lives. So I'm hoping because my video is kind of new that maybe the algorithm will help it get a lot of views, and maybe we can get some people over to Hawkeye's channel and help him out. I'm going to go ahead and put his link to his channel in the description as well. So I'll have both Gaming Rabbit and Hawkeye Chess that you guys can check out after me. You know, I love chess. I know a lot of you guys really love it too, and as long as we can kind of take care of each other and promote each other, you know, we can just build the sport up, and that's my whole goal. I love the game, and it's a lot of fun. So anyway, with that being said, let me get to this game. All right, so in this one, I was practicing the stone wall again. So instead of moving my king's pawn all the way forward, I move at 1 position. In case you don't know, the stone wall from the black's position would have that pawn there, pawn here, pawn here, and pawn here. That's the stone wall. And it can turn into some really wonderful play down the road as these two pawns take right diagonally. It opens up your bishop. You have your queen that's opened up. You've got pawns that can move forward. It's just really powerful. It does make for a really bad bishop on the light square, but a lot of people will try to route it to the other side of the board during this process. So Stonewall is really cool. Check it out if you have a chance. In any case, he doesn't really do what I want him to. I go ahead and try to force the position once again. I just, creature habit. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I do still kind of stick to the plan here. He pushes forward, so we're kind of in a French area. If this pawn was here, that would be the advanced position on the French. I would then move here to attack it, which you'll see in the last game, which is next. In any case, I just go ahead and develop my knight attacking his pawn. He does move that pawn forward, so I think technically we're still in a French, but I could be wrong. The problem now is that this knight now blocks this pawn, so I can't move it forward. So that was probably not a good move. I go ahead and attack his pawn, looking that if he takes and I take, once I get the bishop out somewhere, then I can get castled, get my king put away to safety, which I always try to do by move 10. He attacks my knight. I take. He takes. Obviously, I can't take back, but we did get rid of part of his center position, which I'm really happy about. I believe my next move was to go here and protect that knight. And boom, now I'm in trouble. So I've seen this position a million times. I've watched a lot of different people play it. There is a way out of it. You're still losing at this point, and even a few moves from now, I'm still losing. But there is a way to actually get the king to safety, and this is how it plays out. The first thing you do is what everybody tells you not to do, and that's to push the pawn. You're threatening to take the queen. And of course, the famous move that everybody knows is that knight takes here, because now you're setting up the disco on the king and you're attacking the rook. So it's brutal. It's exactly what he does, which is what I expected. This is kind of my counter to this, putting myself in a really horrible position. I can't believe I came back in this game and actually won it. Pardon me. So anyway, what I do is I attack the queen. Counterattack. And that way, if he does do the disco of check with the knight, the piece that's putting me in check is the queen, and I can take the queen back. He moves the queen away, which is smart. He's still going to take my rook. I don't care. I go ahead and move the bishop to protect it. I believe that Stockfish was having me do something else. I think Stockfish actually wanted me to take the knight. He takes my rook, and then we play from there. But I just wasn't feeling it. At this point, I'm just dying to get this king put to bed with castling to the right. So in any case, I protect the rook. He takes, I take, and my bishop is still protecting this knight. Now I just want to get the queen up here. So, whoops. I want to get the queen up here so I can castle. So what comes next? He attacks. I move the queen up so I can castle. He castles. I castle. And he aligns his rook with this pawn. And I'm thinking the reason that he may have done that is he's looking to take, or actually make this exchange first and trade all these pieces off. And then when I take here, this pawn is vulnerable. I'm thinking something along those lines. But in any case, I go ahead and move my queen over so that I can start pushing this pawn to maybe push the bishop away. Once again, I'm just fighting to get these guys out of here, but at least my king is to safety. That was the main point of all that. I can't believe I pulled it off. I'm also looking at, well, let's just move on. He takes, I take. He takes, I take. He knows he's up in material. He's up 3 pawns. Or no, I'm up 3 pawns. I'm surprised that he's trading as much as he is, but he continues to trade, and now it's just a matter of trying to finish the game. I'm up 3 points of material. Pushes the pawn, which is blocking his knight from coming out, as you can see. I bring the bishop down to protect that pawn. He pushes. Right now, what I'm thinking of is I see that I have a dark squared bishop. This pawn is on a dark square, so I align my rook. Once he brings his knight out, I change my mind. Now I'm thinking of maybe some sort of discovery here, pinning this pawn, because it worked 2 games ago, so why wouldn't it work in this game, right? So I move my rook over to there instead. Kind of a wasteful move. He brings his knight in. I start pushing my pawn to stop the advancement of his H pawn, and outpost. I hate outposts, especially when they're a knight. If you guys watch Sadistic Tushy, which I know a lot of you do because most of my subs know him, he loves getting that knight on an outpost like this. And I have no pawn to attack it, so goodbye, get rid of it right away. He took with the rook, which I was thinking he was going to take with the pawn, but now he's attacking my pawn. Smart move. I push it forward. He comes over to create a battery. At this point, I'm seeing 7th heaven here. Him trying to get his rooks to the 7th heaven there. So that makes me a little bit nervous. So I decide to start bringing my king over. Brings it forward. I protect the pawn. Now he's threatening 7th heaven right here. So I move my king over once again to block that. He comes here again, threatening coming down for 7th heaven. I move forward, protecting this and also protecting this. He can still move down in here, but I don't know how much damage he can do. In any case, here's where we're going to learn about the scope of the bishop being a sniper and people not seeing it. And also going back to what chat said about playing solid as you can, waiting for the opponent to blunder. So he goes ahead and attacks that pawn with this rook. I move here. Oh, okay. Now the reason I move here is now what I want to do is I want to push my pawn, takes, my king's off the 7th heaven. It's hidden behind this little tiny pawn chain. So that's my objective. That's the reason I move my king here, is I'm ready to push this pawn. But then he does that. So now if I push the pawn, it's take, and I can't take back. So I decide to move this pawn forward to add a reinforcement. He moves that pawn, which doesn't really do anything as far as this trade goes. So I push, take. So this is the position I wanted to get into a few moves ago. And there's the blunder. He goes in to attack my pawn and doesn't see that my bishop is staring right at that square. We're 1, 2, only 3 away. And so what do? I take it. I mean, got to take the free stuff, right? At this point, he goes kind of into panic mode, attacks that pawn. I come back and protect it. He starts pushing the pawns, and I wouldn't mind if he took, because I can just take right back. At this point, I just want to trade rooks if I can. But I'm thinking, you know, if he can't see a bishop that's 3 squares away, could he see it if it's 5 squares away? So I attack his rook. Does he move it? Nope. He says, I'm not letting you take my pawn. Boom. And he resigns. So this just goes to show being the resiliency of staying solid and waiting for your opponent to make a mistake. And so that ended that game. And now we'll finally get to the very last one, which was, give me 1 second to load it. It's so funny when you load up these games, how it doesn't keep them in the order that you put them in. They're like all mixed up. Doesn't make it easy. Let's see. So on that last game, it gave me an estimated elo play of 1850. So I'm just moving up the ranks. I'm getting stronger and stronger as I play. 1650, then 1700, then 1850. And now I'm on this game. And this one I play out like 1950 with no misses, no mistakes, and no blunders. Just trying to stay solid. So again, I start off trying to stonewall. He moves forward. This is extremely common. I push forward, hoping he takes, and he locks it up. That becomes the French advanced. So the proper move here is to push the pawn, try to get him to take so that you can develop your bishop. Then all you have to do is get your knight out somewhere so that you can castle and be solid. He does not take, he reinforces it. So I say, okay, well, I don't like that pawn chain. Let's start stabbing away at it. I come out and put him in check. What I was hoping here is I was hoping he'd bring out the knight and block it, pinning his own piece, which is not a big deal. It's almost kind of a fake hoping pin kind of move, but it can come in later handy. I mean, come in handy later. Sorry, I'm still kind of cold. My brain's not fully functional right now. It was working when I was playing the game. Right now, not so much. I think I need to drink some more coffee. In any case, he blocks with the bishop, so I trade him. Next, I just do a developing move. So does he. He's getting ready to castle on the king side. And now what I'm looking at is I'm threatening this piece, but I don't really have anything else to help me out with that. So at this point, what I'm really thinking about is pushing the pawn, takes, and castle. That would be a pretty decent position. We both are working hard to try to control the center. Seems like a pretty solid game. But instead, I force the trade. I'm like, well, I try to force the trade. What I want to do is get the queens off the board. If he takes, I take back with the knight, and then I have possibilities of coming here or just coming back, and then just start maybe pushing my pawns or doing an attack on the queen side. Now he pins himself. So right now he's pinned to the queen, but if he moves the queen, then he's pinned to the king. And I'm over here, I'm watching the camera that's showing behind me, and it's so funny in Wyoming when it snows like this, all you see are trucks. Truck after truck after truck after truck after truck. I have a four-wheel drive truck as well. It's beautiful, that intersection. It's a couple miles from here. I should have actually drove through it and then came back and played it in the background. You guys could see my truck go driving by. That would have been kind of cool. Kind of a going back in time kind of thing. But anyway, man, this video is getting a little long. Let me finish this up. So I push the pawn with the plan of taking with the knight and castling. He takes, I take. What that does, I do not know. Now the knight is pinned. You can't attack with one piece. I do see this, but the whole point of this was for me to castle, which I do on the next move. And now I'm looking at this. Because if I can take this knight out and he takes back and I take back, now I have a check, I have a fork on the king and the rook. So I'm assuming his next move is going to push the pawn to stop me from moving there, or maybe even moving the bishop here, leaving that open spot for his knight. But he blocks his own pawn. This square is wide open. Give it a nice green color. And so I have to do it, right? I mean, it's just a smart move. The only thing better would be if I had this bishop on this square, you know, my dark squared bishop, seeing discovery at the same time. But in any case, boom. So now I'm attacking this knight. Takes, check with the fork. So I'm assuming he's going to come back here to try to protect that knight, but instead, that's a blunder. So I see some danger here with this knight coming in, aiming at this pawn. But at this point, I'm just all in. I mean, it seems logical to just take out that knight I take it out, and waiting for him to take back. What's he do? Castles. What piece was that king protecting? The king was protecting the bishop. So he doesn't take this piece, which would at least get him something back. I mean, he loses rook, but I don't know. Castles. So of course I'm going to take that free bishop and put him at check at the same time. So it comes with a tempi. At this point I would resign, which he does here shortly. He moves back. Now my knight's kind of stuck. I'm thinking at that point I could bring it down. It is protected by the rook, but this is again making me nervous. So I bring the queen down here. I want to trade queens, get the queens off the board. He says no. And so now my knight can come to this square and attack the queen at the same time. So that seems pretty logical. He moves out of the possibility of being captured. So I just bring the knight back to safety. Probably might have been okay to bring it here. The only problem is that I can't really give it any protection on this square. That's the reason I didn't want it there. So I bring it home safe. He brings the knight, the rook in to put pressure on this pawn. It is protected though. And so I'm thinking, okay, I am up 6 in material, a bishop and a knight. Sack the rook. I go ahead and sack the exchange, and he takes with his pawn. So he takes with his pawn, kind of ruining his pawn structure, doubling the pawns, making his pawns around the king weak, and opening up this file. So if I can get any rook over here, do a rook lift, or get my queen there. I was a little surprised by that. Taking with the queen, I didn't see anything major with that, but he takes here. I take here and he resigns. He's down too much in material, even with me sacking the exchange for that rook and knight situation. I'm just going to go in and finish him off. And so these 10-minute games are finishing quite quickly, which gives me more confidence for the 5-minute games. So feeling really good. No misses, no mistakes, no blunders. Estimated Elo on this one at 1950, which makes me feel real good because that's way above my Elo. And so that pretty much brings it to an end on those games. It brought me up, if you look at the chart, I'm up to 1246, which is fantastic. Shooting for that 1300. And check it out, guys. You know, we're just over 100 subscribers. I appreciate everybody that's subscribed. It's been really fun, really great. I normally do live streams and shorts, but now I'm starting to add videos like this at your request, and it's helping me a lot. It's making me become a better player. Any of these live videos will be in purple. The blue ones are going to be the live ones, and the shorts are obvious because they're vertical. So if you guys enjoyed the content and would like more of it, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe and like to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. And also, if you want to check out those 2 links, the Brilliant is really cool, and Hawkeye's a lot of fun. Be nice for you to check those guys out. Until then, play strong, have fun, and we'll see y'all in the next stream. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.